let's get going. This is an absolutely enormous, enormous webinar. Many of you don't know me. I'll introduce myself in just a moment, but I think it's time to get going because it is a scheduled time. My name is Ilan Azbel. I am currently the CEO at a company called Autochartist.com. You may or may not have heard of us. Pepperstone is one of the first companies in Australia to take on our services, I'm delighted to say. I'll be giving a presentation today about the basic overview of the product. We're not going to be going into too much detail today, but if you like what you see, then you can join us for the next webinar. I believe it's going to be happening next week at the same time. We'll be getting into more details. Now, I see that there are an absolutely insane amount of questions coming through before I've even started the webinar. Okay, so what we've got is we've got some staff on the line with me. They're in the background, staff from both Autochartist side as well as staff from Pepperstone side that are going to be handling some questions in the background because I think I'm going to be struggling to answer all the questions coming through from hundreds of people. I see some people are struggling with audio, and some people can hear me okay. Are there people that can hear me fine? Could I get a show of hands if you can hear me okay? Okay, I've got a whole bunch of people that say yes. So the ones that have said that there's a problem, you might want to turn up the volume or something. I also want to let you know that this session will be recorded and will be posted. Obviously, we'll edit out all this beginning intro stuff about sound problems, so that'll be posted in the next day or two. All right, so we're running probably about 5 minutes late. I think it's time for us to get going. So before we get going, obviously, I want to highlight the risk warning from Pepperstone. So obviously, anything I say here in this presentation may not reflect the opinions of Pepperstone. Please know, of course, never trade with money that you cannot afford to lose, and obviously over-the-counter leverage margin trading does have a high risk of losses. So please remember those disclaimers so that the lawyers don't have a fit when they play back this video. All right, with that being said, I'm going to dive right in, and the first thing we got to know is how to get into the Autochartist service. Okay, and before I even tell you what it's all about, right? Okay, so first thing you got to do is you got to go to Pepperstone's website. You have got to log into your client account area, click on Trading Tools, and there's a section called Autochartist under Trading Tools. And in that section, you'll have a number of different things that you can do. The first thing you can do is you can download the MT4 plugin. And that's the thing that I'm primarily going to show you how to use today. You can also subscribe to the daily reports, although I probably don't expect you to subscribe to the daily reports before you've built some trust with the platform, right? So let's run through the platform first and see what it's all about, and then you can decide whether you want to receive our daily market view and snapshot. Okay. Also, at the bottom of this section, you will find some interesting trading opportunities that you can take, and I will talk about those in just a few moments during this presentation. Okay, so first thing, log in. Then the next thing that I would do if I was you is I would download the MT4 plugin. Okay, and when you click download, it's a regular kind of setup.exe that you run through. It's next, and you kind of run through that wizard, and what will happen at the end of that wizard is you should have And I've just switched to my MetaTrader. Let's wait for all your screens to catch up. You should have your MetaTrader, and under Expert Advisors, you should have a little expert advisor called Autochartist. Okay, so now don't be scared. Autochartist, although it's called an expert advisor, it does not trade on your behalf, right? It's an expert advisor because we use some technologies that only expert advisors can achieve rather than indicators. So don't worry, it does not trade on your behalf, right? And so that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing that I normally tell all traders to do, and that is outside of anything to do with Autochartist, is reduce your instrument list. Right. So when I downloaded the Pepperstone MetaTrader 4 platform for the first time, I probably got 4 or 5 dozen instruments that I could trade. But I know what I personally trade, and it's not all those instruments. And so I reduce my list of instruments that I can see. There's a number of benefits to that. The first benefit outside of Autochartist is the fact that it takes less bandwidth. On your internet, you get much less latency when you place your trades and much less strain on your computer. So it's always a good idea to reduce the instruments to the ones that you are actually trading. Okay. The second thing, the advantage with regards to Autochartist is when you drag and drop the Autochartist indicator, or sorry, expert advisor onto your chart, Autochartist will only give you the trading opportunities for the instruments that you have listed in your market watch window. Okay, so you're not going to get a whole bunch of junk on, I don't know, some exotic pairs like the Turkish lira or the Mexican peso. You'll only get the ones that you're interested in, which is a huge benefit to you if you're looking for trading opportunities right now. Okay, so before I go any further, I'm going to step back for a moment and introduce myself, okay? Because it's important for you to understand who's speaking to you, right? And I kind of did this all backwards, but you'll understand why in just a moment. So I am not a professional educator or a product evangelist. That is not my background. I am an engineer by background. I built Autochartist from the ground up, and the reason I built it was because I, in fact, was trading the Johannesburg Stock Exchange full-time. And I built Autochartist as part of the tool set that I was using during my trading. Okay, and then yeah, later it turned into a business. But I do come from a trading background, and so you can ask me questions about trading itself, right? You don't have to limit your questions to simply Autochartist questions, although remember, sometimes from a legal and a compliance perspective, I can't answer all the questions you may want me to answer. Like, you can't ask me, Ilan, which direction do you think the euro is going? I'm just simply not going to answer that, okay? There's too much legal liability on that, okay? But so you're welcome to ask me different trading techniques, and what you'll find is in the next webinars we'll go more in depth into the trading style around the product as well, and not only kind of the which buttons to push to get the thing running. Okay, so the whole idea around Autochartist is the fact that many traders, especially retail traders, right? And I don't mean to sound condescending, but you'll find that the style of professional traders versus retail traders is very different. Professional traders don't go into the office every day and force themselves into a trade, right? Professional traders, they sit behind their desks, they look at the markets, about what's going on in the markets, and they decide where the opportunities in the markets are lying. They don't walk into the office one day and say, today I'm definitely going to trade the euro, or I'm definitely going to trade the Aussie dollar, or something like that. They don't come with a preconceived notion. They let the markets come to them, okay? And so at Autochartist, what we're trying to do is we're trying to instill that more professional outlook on the market and provide you a tool with which you can look at the market and say, okay, out of the 100 instruments that I can trade, what are the 10 or 15 or 20 that I need to look at in order to what are the few instruments I can look at in order to try and see where the action is happening right now in the market. And that's really what Autochartist provides you. Okay, so when you drag and drop the Autochartist Expert Advisor onto the chart, you get a window like this, and this is a totally unique window to Autochartist. And the reason I'll say that, and people that have used MetaTrader before, they'll know that with MetaTrader, you cannot scan the markets. If you want to look at the euro and the yen and the pound and the Swissy and the loonie and the Australian dollar, you need to open up multiple charts and multiple time frames. But Autochartist provides you on one chart a view on the entire market, right? So for example, we can see that we think that some of the commodities, the metals are going down, euro, New Zealand dollar is going down, okay, for the next short while. And we're able to click on the button, on the view button, and Autochartist will change the instrument we're looking at, right? So we were looking at Euro USD, I think it was. Now I click it and the chart has changed to euro New Zealand dollar, okay? And now what we can see on the right-hand side of our chart is that Autochartist had drawn a resistance level and a support level, and this gray block, which is a target area where we think the price is going, right? So with a simple drag and drop of an expert advisor and a click of a view button, we're immediately seeing a trading opportunity, right? So again, remember, Autochartist is not something brand new in the market that's revolutionary in terms of its analysis style. This is not a black box. Autochartist is based on the theory of support and resistance levels, specifically chart patterns and horizontal support and resistance levels, right? So everything in Autochartist that you see is about market psychology. Support, resistance. What is support and resistance? Support and resistance means oversold and overbought, right? Okay, so the market thinks at this point over here, let me get my drawing tool. At this point here, the market thinks we are oversold. At this point here, the market thinks we are overbought, right? Okay, the price is too high, fluctuating again to oversold, fluctuating again to overbought, and now there's this compression in the market, and now there's a breakout through that compression, right? So that's what Autochartist is telling you. And this theory of chart patterns and support and resistance levels has been around since the 1930s and is probably the most widely used type of analysis for entering the market, right? So you can use other indicators along with Autochartist, right? My favorite indicator to use is not found on MetaTrader. It is market news, macroeconomic sentiment about the dollar, about the euro, right? You can always find some kind of directionality where you think long-term, medium-term, or short-term, there's going to be some kind of there's going to be some kind of a movement up or down, and then you can use Autochartist to try and time the market in a better way. Okay, so let's look at this example here. So before I go into the specific details of each type of pattern that Autochartist identifies, right? So in this case, we've identified it looks like a pennant on Euro NZD. And this is on the daily chart. You can see it says D1, right? So Autochartist, because of this red line, can you see this red arrow crossing over this black line? That means that there has been a breakout. Okay, a breakout means that the price has broken through support or resistance. Okay, and you can see that on MetaTrader, it certainly has. And a breakout pattern, the theory, is that it will continue in the direction of the breakout down to this gray area. Okay, so so now what I can do is, if I want to, I can simply take a short position on Euro NZD. I can sell the market, and here I have a position on Euro NZD. Okay, I took a very small position size. This is a live account that I'm using just to demonstrate the forecast, right? Now, some of you may be thinking, on what basis, or what is the theory around this prediction area, right? Because that's the question I would be asking myself, right? Is this some kind of thumbs up where Ilan decided that it needs to be, you know, 100 pips out or something like that? The answer is no, it's not. The answer is that the theory of chart patterns, you can pick up pretty much any book on technical analysis and have an entire chapter on the stuff, is quite, I guess, instructive about where the price is going, okay? The theory is that you look at the trend before the breakout, or right before the pattern formation, and you map it onto the end of the pattern. So theoretically speaking, this pattern we should be predicting down to this level that I'm showing you right now, down here, okay? But what we do at Autochartist is we take it a step further, and our view on it, actually my personal view on it, is that not all patterns are created equal. And because of this, what I've done is I have opened up this little pattern details window to show you what I mean. Along with the pattern itself, the trade opportunity itself, we provide a quality indicator. So we show that the initial trend of this pattern was very high, and you can see that this initial trend was very high. But the touching points between support and resistance were not very uniform. There's a lot of noise. The clarity is low. There's a lot of noise between support and resistance. The breakout has been very weak, although subsequently the confirmation of the breakout has been very strong, right? And so what we do is we scale down the forecast based on that pattern quality. Okay, so that's why we make the forecast at that level instead of all the way down at that theoretical level. So the more, should I say, visually perfect the pattern is, the closer that a gray area will get to the theoretical chart pattern theory forecast level. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everyone, right? Okay, so we've got that position open. Okay, we're up a few cents on that position. Okay, but there's one very important thing that on which we're missing out, right? We are naked in the market, right? Do you use that term? I hope no one finds that offensive, but without a stop loss and a take profit, I call it naked in the market. It's literally because you're sitting with your bare naked private parts open to the entire world. Okay, this is probably the one biggest mistake that traders make when they're trading. They think they're going to keep their platform open the entire day, and they're going to monitor the position, and they'll close it if they need to. And all I've heard all the nonsense from every excuse from every retail trader about why they're not setting stop losses and take profits. All good and well. If you tell me, Ilan, I'm going to monitor my position and I'm going to keep an eye on it, and if I need to, I'm going to close that position up, right? That's fine. You can do that. But there are so many market scenarios that can happen that will prevent you from closing your position. What if my internet connection suddenly breaks right now? My internet connection goes down, right? In fact, it happened to me 2 days ago. I was on vacation. I came back. My internet is down at home, not working. What if I had a position open? No stop loss. My broker doesn't know about my stop loss. What am I going to do? Right? You are going to lose your shirt. So even if you're going to be monitoring the market, always put in a worst case scenario stop loss. Okay, if you choose whatever you choose your worst case scenario stop loss to be, let's just say let's say draw a line and I say, okay, my worst case scenario stop loss is up here at 157,419. I should right click this thing, I should modify my order, I should set my stop loss to 57419, and I should modify my order and I should put my stop loss in. Okay, I must have a worst case scenario stop loss. There's a certain amount of money that I'm not willing to lose more, right? Okay, so always put in a stop loss. Now, this is in fact one of the primary topics of our next webinar next week, which is how to set stop losses and take profits using Autochartist, right? And you will see these little blue lines on the right-hand side, which says next D1, right? Next D1. That is what we call volatility analysis, which shows you where we expect the price to be within the next day. Okay, if I change my chart to, let's say, a 1 hour chart on the same instrument, watch what happens. Now it shows me, Autochartist shows me where my expected price range is for the next hour, 4 hour, and 24 hours, right? So if I want to set a realistic stop loss and take profit, right, where let's say I don't want to hold the position overnight because I don't want to pay the swaps on it, okay? What I would do is I should rethink that and I should say, okay, I'm only going to hold my position for the next 4 hours. So in fact, I'm going to change my stop loss and I'm going to set it to, let's see, 1.56040, okay? And I'm going to change it. And now my stop loss is, my stop loss is closer to that level, okay? There we go. So now I won't hold my position overnight and I won't pay the swap or the rollover price, okay? Now, as you can see, that on Euro NZD on the hourly chart, there's no support and resistance levels. That means we didn't pick up any new patterns right now on Euro NZD H1, right? On H1, but on the daily, we obviously did pick it up. Okay, there it is on daily. In fact, if you go to the little settings section on Autochartist, and if I can, I wonder why my, there we go, my little MetaTrader was playing up for a second. I am able to select, apologies, wrong section. I am able to select how many historical patterns to show. So for example, if I want to show 5 historical patterns, I can click that, and what Autochartist will do is it'll show me the latest 5 historical patterns that were identified by Autochartist, right? And you can see them there now, right? Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see all the historical patterns that were identified in the past, okay? Okay, so so now, okay, some people really get a little bit confused around this, you know, showing the historical patterns. That's why the default, if you click on that filter button, the default is to show no historical patterns, right? So just the latest stuff. But for those of you who want to see what happened in the past, you're more than welcome. I think the limit is 20 or 30. I don't remember what the limit is. You can see how the price of this instrument has developed from a trend perspective. Okay, so now I bet that some of you have got this thing, right? Because I can read your minds. Some of you have got this thing open on your computer right now, and you're following along, and you're saying, Ilan, I don't get the gray block. I'm not seeing the gray block, right? Okay, so this is a great question, and let me show you. If you're not seeing a gray block, it means that you clicked on one of these line items that is a gray arrow, okay? a gray arrow. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's look at this. I want to look at the daily charts for now. NZD Swiss franc daily chart. I'm going to click on this one with a gray arrow. And Autochartist changes the chart for me. And I want to see what happens. Okay, so that's a slightly older one, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot because it's already broken out. But what happened was that it's just the latest candle that was identified over here that broke through the resistance level. But this pattern was actually identified at this level over here, okay? At that, not that level, sorry, at this time, right? And at that time, you can see quite clearly that the price had not yet broken through support resistance. That is the meaning of this gray areas. The gray ones are the ones that have not yet broken support or resistance. Now, this is interesting. This one has subsequently broken through, right? So by the end of today, when this latest candle closes, we're expecting a bullish breakout on NZD Swiss franc daily, right? So in a few hours, when the market closes, we're expecting a line at the top of Autochartist up here that says NZD CHF D1 with a green arrow that has broken through the black line. Okay? But now, of course, the price yet hasn't, this candle hasn't closed yet, right? The day hasn't finished, so we're not getting that breakout signal as yet. So really, what have I just said to you now? If you think about what I just said to you now, it's a very interesting concept, is that Autochartist has really the theory of chart patterns. Autochartist has automated the theory of chart patterns, but it's gone one step further. Because the theory of chart patterns is only around the breakouts, right? When the price has broken through support or resistance, as the example we just traded on Euro NZD, okay? But what we do at Autochartist is we try to give you a preemptive strike on the market, right? So if you were monitoring Autochartist earlier today, you would have seen that NZD Swiss franc was moving up. It had not yet broken through, right? And so that would be a position, that would be a time where you could take a limit order or a stop order. Okay, so now I don't want to create a little explosion in anyone's head, okay? so I'm going to try find an example that hasn't yet broken through, and let's see, 15 minutes, this might have broken through already. Let's see what's going on here. I want to try find an example that hasn't yet broken through. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this chart, right? So this is a chart of AUD USD 15 minutes. Okay, it's a very kind of low time granularity chart. And what's happened is that you can see that the price has moved up. It's down, up, down, and now it's turned around a little bit. So what do we do with this thing, right? Do we wait for it? Do we not trade it? Do we trade it? What do we do, right? And this is the reason why we don't give a forecast area. So now I got to this topic by talking about the gray block. Why don't you get a gray block? Because in this scenario, the theory of chart patterns doesn't tell us what to do. It doesn't say, hey, you need to go long, or you need to go short, or you need to go wherever you need to go, right? It doesn't actually tell us what we need to do, right? So we're unsure. And this is an opportunity to start selling, to start creating limit or stop orders in the market. And what do I mean by that? For example, if you think there's a pending breakout, you could set a short position so that the market goes short at zero. Let's see what this level is. This is a very interesting level at this round number, right? 0.8, right? So if there's a breakout of the support level, make sure you're in the market to go short, right? Or you could take, for example, a pending order to go long if it goes above this previous turning point, or a pending order to go long if it goes, to a different kind of level. So there is different ways you can use these emerging patterns. We call them emerging patterns. Different ways you can use them to get what I call a preemptive strike on the market. Of course, you could do the super high risk thing, which is trade this thing long right now, because you think that the price is turning around and it's going to go back up to this resistance level, this green level. You can take a long position right now. Again, that is a very high risk thing to do. What I want to do is I want to quickly switch back to the previous example I was on Euro NZD daily chart. Okay, so we're making a little bit of money. This is not bad. We've made 50 cents on a very, very small trade, on $1,000 trade, very small trade. But we'll keep the position open. This is my kids won't stop if we lose a bit of money or make a bit of money on this open position. So many people ask me, okay, Ilan, look at this Autochartist window. I have got 8 pages of trading opportunities that I can follow. 8 pages. Okay. It's too much, right? There is no way that any human being can follow 8 pages. So there's a number of things that I want to tell you from my experience. Okay, so again, you might be an amazing technical analyst that has got more experience. I've got about 15 years of experience, but I've met people with more experience than me that think differently to me, okay? But from my experience of trading chart patterns is to see what works for me in my trading style, right? And I'll talk more about my trading style, my personal trading style, as we go through this kind of series of 3 webinars, okay? And my trading style is that I don't trade the low frequency events, the low time interval events, okay? So, for example, I don't trade these 15-minute opportunities. Okay, so the first thing I do when I use Autochartist is I do certain things. I remove the 15-minute and the 30-minute trading opportunities. Okay, that's the first thing I do. And then I click save, and then hopefully I'll go down from 8 pages I'll reduce the 8-page count a little bit. Not that much. Okay, reduce from 9 pages to 8 pages. Okay, not too bad. That's the first thing that I do. The next thing that I do is, personally, I don't trade Fibonacci patterns. Okay, now people ask me, why don't you trade Fibonacci patterns? Because there's almost a cult following around Fibonacci. The truth is that you as a trader need to decide what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Okay, personally, I believe with Fibonacci patterns, if you draw enough lines, one of the lines is going to hit. It doesn't mean that Fibonacci works. Okay, and again and again and again, I've tried it. It doesn't work for my trading style. And so I simply don't trade it, right? I know people that don't look at moving averages, right? And I don't argue with them, right? Many people might think, you don't use a moving average. That's probably the second most used, or probably the most used technical indicator at a retail level. I know people that don't use moving averages. Why? It just doesn't work for them. Okay, so Fibonacci doesn't work for me, and so you shouldn't be, I guess, you shouldn't be influenced by people that use or don't use the technique that works for you, right? The guy next to you knows nothing more or less than what you know about the markets, right? So if I remove Fibonacci patterns, then that might reduce a little bit more, right? So that goes down to 7 pages, which is still a lot of pages, right? We've gone from 9 down to 7. The last thing that I don't use, and this is going to be surprising because we spent a whole 5 minutes talking about it, is I don't use these emerging chart patterns. Okay, so this odd New Zealand dollar channel down, I don't use it because it's a gray one. This New Zealand dollar channel up, I don't use that one. This rising wedge, I don't look at those. I do look at the key levels, approaching key levels, and I'll show you what the difference is in a moment. Now, this should reduce by quite a bit, right? Down to 2 pages. Now, the reason I don't use the emerging chart patterns is very different reason to Fibonacci. The reason I don't use emerging chart patterns is because it's a huge unknown for me. I am an engineer by computer scientist and a mathematician by background. I am a numbers guy. Okay, everything I do in my life is numbers, from buying a house to buying a car to trading. I want to know the numbers. I want to know the financing costs. I want to know everything. I don't just go out and buy stuff. It's a weakness of mine. That's what I do. Okay, everything I do is about numbers. And what I don't have is I don't have probability and statistic numbers around emerging chart patterns. Okay, because there is no theory around where the stuff is going, right? Where the objective is of the price. At Autochartist, we can't calculate whether our historical predictions were successful or not. Okay, for completed chart patterns like the one I'm showing you, what we are like these breakout opportunities where we provide a gray area, I can tell you, out of the last 1,000 patterns, 700 of them hit this forecast area. That is a number that I can work with. As Ilan, a numbers guy, I can say, okay, I see a track record, I understand what the risks are, and that's what I'm going to trade on. Because the theory of chart patterns doesn't provide any kind of understanding of where the price is going to go from an emerging perspective, right? When there's no breakout yet, we can't measure those numbers. We provide that preemptive strike on the market for you as a benefit to the trader of the product, right? So could you look at it? Could you enable it in your plugin? Sure, you can. Would I, as Ilan, ever trade them? Not me. I do know people, however, that trade them a lot using stop and limit orders, right? As I showed you before. That is not the way I trade. Okay, I trade spot in the market. Okay, so it's up to you about how you want to trade the market. However, I want to show you the kind of emerging patterns that we do actually provide. And you can see there's one gray instance over here, and it's a New Zealand Canadian dollar opportunity on the 4-hourly chart. I'm going to click the view button and get it to switch. Okay, hopefully my MetaTrader is updating for everyone. Okay, this is very interesting now. Now, I like this because, again, at Autochartist, we've identified a horizontal level. That's this green line over here. We can see that we did a pretty good job of identifying it because, again and again, this level was tested numerous times, kind of over here, again over here, and again, we're testing it over here. Okay, I just popped up here. Mindy, you say that NZD-CAD is not in your list. If NZD-CAD is not in your list, Mindy, then NZD-CAD is not in your market watch window. If NZD-CAD is in your market watch window, then it should come up on Autochartist. Okay, you need to make sure it's on market watch, because if it's not in your market watch window, then it means Autochartist thinks, I'm not interested in that. If it's not, then we're going to have to look at that. That's a bug. Report that to us, support@autochartist.com. Not sure why you're not getting it, if it is in there. Okay, then report that to us. Okay, guys, so again, I can't answer all the questions. Mindy's question just happened to spot it in my questions window as it was rolling past. If you do have any issues, please contact the support desk at Pepperstone. and then they will escalate the support question to us. Most of the time, it's just a settings issue or something. Okay. So again, we did a really good job at identifying this level. Okay, so this looks like a pretty important level on the NZD CAD. Okay, let's look at what this level is. This level is at around 0.93. What is it? 0.93. 93.90. Okay, so this we think is an important level in the market. And you can see that this level now is being tested. Okay, are we going to trade long to this level? Do we think it's going to test it even more, or do we think it's going to bounce off this level? Now, in my opinion, this level has been tested already, and I would take a short position on this instrument, and I'm going short now. And now I have a short position, and again, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? Remember, I'm naked in the market. I need to not be naked in the market, right? So I need to set my stop loss. So my stop loss in this situation, let's say I don't want to hold it more than the next 4 hours, I would set it at 0.9396, which is this level given to me by our volatility analysis. And I've set my stop loss at that level. Interestingly enough, if my stop gets hit at that level, my style of trading is I'll probably go long, right? I will probably go long because then I know that there's a breakout, and in fact, we will see NZD CAD as a bullish breakout with a green arrow through the resistance at the top of my Autochartist list, right? So before even seeing it on my list, I know that it's going to come up. I know that Autochartist will identify it. So do I need to remember to take a long position? No. I know that I'm already confident it's going to come up on my Autochartist list. Of course, we haven't built up that confidence with you yet, okay, because you don't trust the product yet. But if you spend a bit of time on it, give yourself a week or two, see how it goes, mess around with it, even if it's on demo account, right? And mess around with it, play with it, see how it works for you. Although, again, I must tell you that I am totally fundamentally against people practicing on a trading account. I can tell you honestly that people don't pay the same attention to their trading when they trade on a demo account versus a live account. So, for example, for Pepperstone here, for this purposes, I deposited a $500 account, and I'm trading 0.01 lots. I'm trading tiny sizes, but this is real cash, right? This is a real 37 cents. This is a real 7 cents that's going up here, okay? And that's my kind of pedantic number side. I don't want to lose 1 cent. Okay, so I am watching these numbers very carefully, okay, to see what happens, right? So I paid a lot of attention. So whether you're using Autochartist or not, you can use moving averages, MACDs, the weather, if you're trading, I don't know, cocoa or wheat, whatever you're using. My opinion is that you should always open a live account and trade very, very small position sizes. So you get that taste of trading real money. And as your confidence grows, that's when you start increasing your position size, right? Many people think that you manage your risk by bringing your stop losses closer and your take profits closer. That's part of how you manage your risk. The major part of how you manage your risk is by taking smaller or bigger position sizes in the market. Okay, so I'm already on 45 minutes in this presentation, and I'm just trying to give you a flavor of the stuff. Now, what I want to show you is some pretty cool features. The first thing is the stats that I mentioned before. I'm not going to go into them in depth right now, but if you click on that little world icon, and you copy and paste this link, performance stats, okay, and you open up your web browser and paste that link in there, okay? You paste that link in. Oh, I'm going to erase all my drawing objects. There we go. What will happen is that you will get all the performance stats for breakout chart patterns, key levels, and approaching key levels, right? All the stats are going to be there, and you can click into them, and see what they're all about, right? So now you'll see this heavy percentage on FX on approaching key levels, right? The little gray ones. And you will see how we've done over the last 6 months. So over the last 6 months, we've evaluated 6,400 emerging key levels. About 5,100 of them hit their target level. And we give a complete breakdown on how we did over the last 6 months, okay? Disclaimer, past performance may not be indicative of future performance. That's the first thing you've got to remember. Markets are continuously changing, but this is the last 6 months of what happened. Secondly, these statistics are not an indication of how much money you would make. The statistics tell you how often the price hit the target level that we provided, independent of stop loss strategy, right? So if you put a real tight stop loss, then you may have been knocked out, right? If you were more lenient with the stop loss, then you may have hit your target level, right? So this is independent of it. This we basically say over the last 6 months, how many times did Autochartist hit its target level? Now, I'm going to quickly switch back, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this time. This is our last and final webinar in the series of 3 webinars. We're going to talk about these stats. There's this little drop-down button. Can you see it says minimum probability over here? This, although it's small and indescript, right? It doesn't catch your attention like all these red and green arrows. This is one of the key elements of Autochartist, right? What we've done is, instead of having you go to the statistics and checking which are the good patterns, which are the bad patterns, etc., etc., we have given you the ability to filter your list based on the highest probability events, okay? So if you set your list to a minimum of 80%, then we'll be lucky if we even get one opportunity, okay, above 80%, because Autochartist is not a miracle worker, right? Okay, we're not clairvoyant, okay? Okay, well, we happen to have 2 opportunities, one on NZD CAD, which is the one that we took a position on, and one on ORD NZD. Let's see what that one looks like. On ORD NZD, there's level O up there, right? Okay, so we think it might be hitting that level up there. Okay, but if you, normally what I say to people is a reasonable percentage is kind of 65, 60, 65, just to skew the stats in your favor, right? The idea is not for Autochartist to give you the fish, right? The idea is for Autochartist to kind of show you where the opportunities lie. So this is one which is of personal interest to me, the USD ZAR, because I'm sure many of you from Australia have recognized my accent, right? I'm South African, although now I live in Texas. USD ZAR is specifically interesting to me because our entire company is still based out of South Africa, and so we trade ZAR quite often. Right, and so this is certainly a very interesting opportunity for me to trade on. Right, okay. So this minimum probability button is amazing. Not only amazing because it takes the performance numbers and merges them together, but really what it does is that it shrinks your tradable universe down. Okay. So remember, we went from, I don't know, what was it, 9 pages when we started, down to 7, down to 6, down to, I think it was 2, and now down to, one page of opportunities. It doesn't mean that this is the only chart you need to have on your screen, right? So we can open up another chart window, right, and have them run side by side, right? We can open up a chart to have them run side by side. It's not a problem, right? One with Autochartist on it and one with Autochartist without it. So you can look at other interesting information, without kind of disturbing your Autochartist screen, right? So you can kind of play around with it. If you want to install Autochartist on multiple charts, you can certainly do that. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that now. So for example, if I only want to see the opportunities on USD ZAR, I can simply untick this display all symbols. I can untick that display all symbols, and it'll only show me opportunities on USD ZAR, right? So similarly, I can drop my Autochartist onto my GBP USD chart, and I can ask for only opportunities on GBP USD. Autochartist, do we have anything on GBP USD right now? And it didn't react to my mouse click, of course, because this is a presentation, right? So stuff always has to go wrong. So there we go, it's refreshing now. Okay, so nothing found in GBP USD right now, okay? Although it doesn't mean that historically there won't be anything like that. Okay, so again, I'm trying to show you some different opportunities of how you can actually trade with Autochartist on multiple charts. But the idea, again, is to try provide you with a view on the entire market without using, you know, sometimes dozens of charts where you can't see what's going on. Okay. Lastly, and this is before I leave you, there is one other button that I want to show you, this world icon again. There is another link that you can copy and paste, and this is to launch the Autochartist web application. Okay, so if you open up Autochartist web application, oh, in fact, I just realized there's one other thing that I want to show you. Wow, it doesn't end this presentation, and I'm running out of time. Okay, so I won't be going into this right now. Next week, we're going to be going more into this. This is the Autochartist web application, and for some reason I'm having a problem logging in, which is very interesting. Maybe I can ask my guys to have a look at that, maybe something with my web browser, but that should launch the web application, and it is not launching it. Not a problem. It's not important for us at this stage right now. There is we'll talk more about it next week. But the last thing I want to show you is this subscribe button. If you just want to get a snapshot of the market every day in your inbox before you open your MetaTrader or get going in the market, you can click on this subscribe button, and you can choose when you want to get this this email in your inbox. Okay, and what you will get then every day or every week, whatever you choose, is a window that looks like this, an email that looks like this, with some trading opportunities on it. Okay, so if you subscribe to it in the morning, you'll see some economic events, high impact economic events that are coming up for the day, some market movements over the last 24 hours, and some interesting trading opportunities, right? And you can scroll through this and trade them. And in fact, to trade them, you don't even need to open your MetaTrader. So I'll show you what I mean. If I want to open this position on GBP USD, for some reason I really love Autochartist. I trust it now. I've built up my trust. I can click on the Trade Now button, and the kind of the web version of Autochartist will come up. And what will happen is you'll notice a little deal ticket coming up on the right-hand side for me. And what I can do is I can put in my username and password. This is the first time that I trade. I need to do this. Oops, I know my server. And I can trade. I'm not sure why the chart is not coming up. I think we might be having a few bugs. But the chart comes up, and I decide that I want to buy it based on this, and I can click buy. And you will see that I now have a GBP USD position open inside my MetaTrader with a stop losses and take profit set. Okay, I only set them to a 10 pip stop loss and take profit, so I think I'm going to lose money on that. That's way too close. But there I have it. I have my GBP USD example. Let's just switch this chart to GBP USD. There it is. You can see my take profit and my stop loss right there and then. So if you want, you can completely bypass having to open up MetaTrader in order to place your positions. Of course, you need to be really be confident with what you're looking at from an Autochartist perspective before you start doing that. But certainly, you know, if you do get those daily reports, to try them out, you know, take small positions. Take a, you know, a 0.01. This one was even too big, right? I set it to 0.1 position size, right? Which is more than I'm comfortable with if I'm evaluating the product. So take a really small position, just to play around with the product, to get a feeling of how it performs and the dynamics in the market. Okay. Sure. So you've been listening to me talk for an hour, and I must say I've been really bad as a host because I have not looked at any questions, and so I'm kind of, for the last 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I guess I would love my staff. I see that I have Yvette on the line. Or is it Fabian from Pepperstone? If there's any specific questions that have come up that you think would be interesting for me to address in the last few minutes of this presentation.
Hi, Ilan. On the Pepperstone side, it looks like a lot of the questions are just based on specific settings of Autochartist, which I'm sure were either answered or can be answered in the following webinars.
Okay. Okay, maybe it would be nice for us to get a list of those, and then we can try and address those specifically, because we took a little bit of time in the beginning to set up. You know, I prefer to talk about trading techniques in this webinar rather than you know, which button to push, because I'm sure all the support questions, the mechanics, we can answer if you send an email to support@autochartist.com or support@pepperstone.com. We'll answer those. So again, I see a few questions coming through about how to download the plugin. You go to your Pepperstone client portal, you click on Autochartist, and you download the MT4 plugin. And again, if you want to subscribe to the daily reports, and then what you'll also find is at the bottom is you'll find the latest and greatest trading opportunities available to you, filtered by probability on this chart, on this screen as well. So it's all kind of the screen at Pepperstone done a really good job of providing a quick summary of Autochartist on this client portal. Yvette or Robin, is there anything that you think I should answer from Autochartist side?
Hi, Ilan. No, I think we've covered a lot of the technical questions and asked clients to email us directly. There seems to be a few hassles with, you know, installation that, but we'll sort that out offline.
Okay, good. So everybody, I again, I want to thank you so much for attending this webinar. It was a huge pleasure to present Autochartist to all of you. I hope I've at least given you a small taste of what this product can do for you. I'm hoping in the next webinar we're going to be talking a lot about setting stop losses and take profits and making them market appropriate. It's probably the most important thing you could listen to. Even if you choose not to listen to my last webinar, come to next week's webinar. It's the #1 problem at a retail trader level. People don't set their stop losses and take profits correctly. Come listen to that one. Again, any support issues, support@autochartist.com, support@pepperstone.com. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll post this video in the next few days. Bye.
Thanks, Ilan.